Hey y'all. Remember I told you people need to get a hobby that involves keeping their clothes on? Remember I said that? Alright, let's dive in, shall we? In Jackson, Mississippi, if you gathered 100 Mississippians in a room, statistically at least one of them has an STD. This was updated August 5th, 2025, by the way. Okay? People cannot keep their goddamn clothes on. They don't know how to have a hobby that doesn't involve getting naked. So they're going to pay for that. And I've been saying that for I don't know how many years. So the STD rate, depending on your source, is around 1,200 per 100,000 Mississippians, or 1 per every 100. The state has long been plagued by high rates of gonorrhea, chlamydia, and HIV. In years prior, Hinds County had the dishonor of having the highest STD rate of any county in the country. However, the state's current boom of congenital syphilis, which follows a nationwide trend, has the medical community now labeling it as an epidemic. According to a 2023 report from the CDC, Mississippi ranked third in the country for reported cases of primary and secondary syphilis. In that same report, Mississippi ranked fifth for gonorrhea and second for chlamydia. Syphilis, like other STIs or STDs, sexually transmitted diseases, is spread through bacteria upon contact with infected fluids, this usually happening through sex or various sex acts. What makes syphilis different, and in some ways harder to detect, is that at first its symptoms can be minor, if any at all. Dr. Kayla Stover, professor and vice chair of pharmacy practice at the University of Mississippi, explained that a symptom one might have in the first stage of syphilis is a painless sore or chancre that would go away even without treatment. But though it is no longer visibly apparent, says Dr. Stover, the disease, if left untreated, could lie undetected in the body for years. And while lying undetected, the disease could slowly progress in its victim's body, leading to more damaging stages. And each of those stages has symptoms that could be mistaken for something else, Dr. Stover says, which is why the disease is often referred to as the great imitator. Unless you are testing for syphilis, you might not know it's there, she continued. In its second stage or secondary syphilis, a rash might appear, usually on the palms. It's important to note here that in its early stages, syphilis is easily treatable, usually only requiring a shot of penicillin, but left untreated, the disease could continue to evolve and one might enter the third stage, latent syphilis. In this stage, the disease could cause damage to internal organs. The last stage, tertiary syphilis, is the disease at its most severe, causing damage to the brain and heart, or heart. Paralysis and dementia are possible during this stage. During all four stages, the carrier could still be infectious, possibly spreading it to various sexual partners. And if you are a mother, it could also spread to your child. This is called congenital syphilis. Oh, crap. I'm dropping things, throwing things down. Hold on a minute. Sorry, guys. This is called congenital syphilis, and Mississippi has seen a 1,000% spike in the past few years, from 10 cases in 2016 to 110 in 2022. In congenital syphilis, the child is infected either in utero or as the child is being born. The complications of the now infected child, says Dr. Stover, could either be mild or could lead to the child's death. Also of note, A rising population contracting syphilis is the age range from 14 to 24 years old. In those populations, a threat from the disease is infertility. Those are some of the challenges from obtaining syphilis, says Dr. Stover. As simple as you're putting other people at risk, to you could be damaging long term your life, your children, your expectations. Deja Abdul Haq, the director of My Brother's Keeper, a local nonprofit focusing on public health, says they began seeing a spike in syphilis cases after the COVID-19 pandemic. And for the reason for the spike, she said, to break it down, simple, condomless sex. I'm going to interject for a minute. Also, a lot of y'all, everybody listening to this, myself, all of us know that a lot of people did not take COVID-19 seriously. If you're banging during the COVID-19 epidemic, then you obviously weren't paying attention to, you need to be only going where you have to go. If you getting butt ass naked, that's not exactly staying away from people. Okay? Just want to put that out there. People were not freaking listening. They were having parties on the college campuses. People weren't taking that shit seriously. They just were very lackadaisical about it. Pissing me off. Abdul Haq would say there is a lack of information regarding condom use in preventing STDs. While this would seemingly be a basic concept to most, in Mississippi it's complicated. In Mississippi schools, sex education classes cannot include instruction and demonstrations on how to use a condom. In 2015, a teacher in Starkville was suspended after a student in her class put a prophylactic on a cucumber. That same year, a teacher went viral for sidestepping the condom rule by demonstrating how to put a sock on a foot. Likewise, there is the lack in Abdul Haq's eyes of information pertaining to modern prevention tools like PrEP, P-R-E-P, a medication which can prevent HIV infection, and Doxypep, another medication that can prevent STDs such as syphilis, chlamydia, and gonorrhea. Imagine if all of these mothers that were exposed to syphilis during sex would have gotten Doxypep within 72 hours, she said. Dr. Stover would echo some of Abdul Haq's same points, saying that Mississippi's sex education has not been as progressive as other states. And in the era of medications such as PrEP and Doxypep, Dr. Stover says that people may not be as scared of unprotected sex as they used to be. I guess they think HIV is an imaginary thing. People just have to learn the hard way. Some of them have to learn the hard way. According to recent data, black men in Mississippi have higher rates of syphilis than others. A 2019 MSDH report found that of the 690 cases of primary and secondary syphilis that year, 338 were black men. The second highest rate was found in black women. The information regarding the solution to these issues usually gets to the black communities late. So it's not so much the individual, it's the environment that does not promote access to all of these prevention methods. It's the individual too. I don't know what she's talking about. No one's going to make you do the deed under gunpoint. So it's a lack of education. Kids are trying to be too grown too fast. I have heard situations where kids are in a school bus performing sex acts. They're children. They are children. That was completely unheard of when I was a kid. I don't know what in the hell is happening. I really don't. It's shocking. It's just totally shocking. Throughout the years, billboard campaigns arose in the state and across the country in an effort to raise awareness about STDs. The billboards, initiated by the AIDS Healthcare Foundation, have phrases on them such as STDs are timeless and testing is caring. The same foundation also has a billboard campaign focusing on syphilis. Those billboards reading things like syphilis is curable. While well-intentioned, Abdul Haq says these billboard campaigns may not be doing enough for those who may need the information the most. Culturally and aesthetically, it doesn't engage the black community, and the message is too vague. We have to hit people with data. Now, I wasn't taught anything about, you know, grown up things when I was a kid. Parents don't, I guess, I don't know if they're embarrassed to talk to their kids about that. But kids have a tendency to do what other kids are doing, and that's why your child has to think for themselves, because people around them will always be doing the wrong thing, whether it's getting high, getting laid, getting pregnant, okay? And although I wasn't instructed properly, the only instruction I had was, you better not come up in here pregnant. That's not exactly teaching your kid. If you indulge in certain things, these are the ramifications, okay? I was never taught any of that. I was just, you know, under the threat of violence if, God forbid, I should, unless I was a second Virgin Mary, I wasn't going to come up in here pregnant. I wasn't doing anything to get pregnant, and I doubt that you can go to a department store or something like that, breathe the air, and then become pregnant. I don't know. Or you drink the water, because that's the only way I could have gotten pregnant. There's no education, and threatening somebody is not education. That's being an asshole. Okay? An abusive asshole. I'll give you a prime example where this person is an adult. He's a young adult, but he was an adult nevertheless. He ended up getting his girlfriend pregnant. It was on one of those medical documentaries where you didn't know the person was pregnant, your partner was pregnant, or you didn't know that you yourself were pregnant. And so she has, severe pain, abdominal pain. They went to the hospital. She was in labor. Nurse came out and said, congratulations, you're having a baby today. And he's like, that's not possible. She said, what do you mean it's not possible? She's in labor. She's having a baby. Well, I didn't think that was possible. She said, why? How do you... She's trying to exercise patience with him, okay? She said, what do you mean it's not possible? What are you talking about? What do you mean? He said, and I quote, my brother told me that if you have sex standing up, you can't get her pregnant. I'm sure the nurse wanted to either laugh or stare at him like he just sprouted antennas out of the top of his head. But she recovered herself and said, she's pregnant. She's having a baby. Today, you are going to be a father. Okay? His brother literally told him that. You can't get her pregnant if you have sex standing up. Oh, Lord, it's making me tired. See what I mean by lack of education? If all you got was a baby, you consider yourself lucky. Okay? Because you could get things that there's no cure for. And people think that's not real until it happens to them. Are you stupid or something? But then again, nobody took COVID seriously. People died as a result of contracting that as well. People think it's something that everybody's making up until it hits them personally. Then they're like, oh, what do you think the talk was all about, all up and down the news? That wasn't a fairy tale. That's real. I don't know if people were in denial. I don't know. But people were, I know somebody personally who was hitting the bars every weekend like a damn idiot. And this was during COVID. So guess what? He was all up these chicks' faces. Me and him hang all the time. Not in a relationship. It ain't that kind of party, okay? But because he was up in their grill and I was hanging with him all the time, he managed to get sick as a dog. Not long after that, I got sick as a dog. And we went to the clinic, and they were doing free testing, I believe. And they're connected to the hospital that I've had my surgeries, all my surgeries. So they know all my personal information. I was so sick. That wasn't the time to play with me. That wasn't the time to test me. Long story short, I went there. I feel like death. I feel like death warmed over. I am weak. I am sick. I am in pain. The energy level wasn't there. I mean, it was a nightmare from hell. When I get there, they got the nerve to say, we need you to sit here in the lobby or sit here in the main part, whatever, and fill out this information pertaining to COVID and, your personal information. I said, y'all have all my personal information in the computer. Well, we need you to fill it out. And now I'm losing my patience because I'm not kidding. I felt like I was at death's door. I am not kidding. My patience level is practically zero for stupidness, which I don't have a lot of patience for stupid anyway. So you're testing me at the wrong time. Well, we just need you already have my information, but you have to fill this out. If you don't fill it out, we can't give you your results. And I said in front of everybody, there was even a little kid sitting there. I said, I'm not fucking filling that out. And she's like, okay, thank you. Normally, under normal circumstances, I would not cuss. But I feel like death and you want to play with me? Oh, honey. This is the wrong time. I'm telling you. So I refused to get tested. And they weren't going to test me anyway because I wasn't cooperative. So screw all these. I don't give a shit. But I'm not going to allow you to test my friend and then you not going to give results because you going to hold our results or his results hostage. Oh, no, the hell you aren't. I sent an email to the CDC the same evening. This was probably on a Thursday or Friday. Might have been a Friday. I said, is it legal? I went here, my friend and I went here to get tested, this particular place to get tested for COVID. And they specifically said they have all of my personal information. And they basically said that they are not going to give me the results because I didn't fill out a piece of paper when I don't need to fill out that piece of paper because they have everything on the computer. Is that legal to hold back someone's results? Guess what? They called on a goddamn Saturday. I'm not playing with you people. I'm not playing with you. Okay? You gonna hold the results hostage. You must have fell and bumped your goddamn head. You better go to the ER because I think you have brain damage. I think you fell, bumped your head, and you got brain damage now because I'm not playing with your ass. Anyway, for people to be having all these kids, they're not using birth control. They're obviously not using anything for protection. I don't know what the hell is going on in Mississippi that people can't stop banging, but I'm telling you right now, you're going down a dangerous road. And everything out there is not solved with a shot. So, I don't know. I'm glad, thank you, Jesus, that I do not live in Mississippi. Well, it wouldn't matter anyway, because I don't want to be bothered with nobody sexually. No way. I've been celibate for years, and you know what? I love every bit of it. I cannot be lied to, tricked, manipulated, sex used as a weapon against me. Okay? I have to deal with unnecessary aggravation because I was, you be physical with somebody and that opens up the door for arguments and people think they control you now and all. No. I'm not playing them games. I am not playing. I love being celibate. It's my favorite thing. These are a few of my favorite things. Anyway. But if you live in Mississippi, I strongly suggest you keep your goddamn clothes on. If you haven't caught anything, you better consider yourself blessed. But I don't know what it is, but it's dangerous to take your clothes off in Mississippi. Okay? When they start putting articles in the news and the CDC gets involved, don't find out the hard way that this is a dangerous road. Don't find this out the hard way. You don't want this. Ain't nobody got nothing on their genitals that is so important that you have to have access to it without protection. Go get a hobby that requires you to be dressed. Because people have no morals. We're going to go there. They have no morals, no ethics anymore. You are not the only person they're banging, even though they're pretending that you're the only person they're banging. How do you think these diseases are spreading? Because people are banging their brains out. There's repercussions for that. I have talked about that until I've been blue in the face. Repercussions for all that stupidness. Anything to excess is bad. I love chocolate, mint chocolate ice cream. If I were to have that as much as people are banging, I'd be about 560 pounds right now. They'd have to grease up a damn doorway so I could walk into the other room. Into the other room. I mean, it's just ridiculous. I couldn't sit in a car because it would scrape on the bottom of the ground. I mean, come on, on the ground, the bottom part of the car would scrape on the ground because I have to have that, mint chocolate like 10 times a day. Anything in excess is bad. Even if it's great, anything to excess is bad and will result in very bad things. People have taken their morals and thrown them out the window. I don't care if you're married, engaged, or seeing somebody, your partner, more often than not, is begging somebody else. I'll give you a prime example. My friend went on a float trip, and we talked about what men don't want women to know, how men are just, their peckers are controlling them, telling them what to do. And they're more than happy to obey their pecker, all right? And women ain't much better. They're acting sleazy. The whole world is just turned into a goddamn orgy. So my friend's on a float trip, and a guy is in a boat with his wife. Well, the chick that was with my friend likes to show everybody her boobies. So she kept flipping her top up constantly because she was loving the attention. So the husband in the boat was doing his hands, like he was doing a signal with his hands, like, hey, lift your top, And so she did, because everybody could get a view of her toddies. Well, he got busted. His wife saw what he was doing and saw that he enticed somebody to raise their top. So I guess he's going to be sleeping on the couch for a while. I don't know. Or put out of the house. I'm not really sure. But how brazen are you to not only do that, but you're going to do it in front of your wife? Like, I really don't care. I need to see me some boobs. No self-control. Absolutely no discipline and no self-control. There's penalties for that. And depending on what you get, what you contract, when you spin the wheel, whatever it lands on, that's what you get to have. Because you can't control yourself. We don't want to be in love anymore. We want to be in the bed. So, what do I always say? If you keep doing what you've been doing, you're going to keep getting what you've been getting. Much love to you guys. Be safe. Bye.